Hello again everyone. So today we're going to discuss on memorandum, or what we call as memo. So in today's demonstration, we're going to look into how to display memo as according to the steps in OBM 102. I do believe that we have the template or sample of memo in our organization. However, for the purpose of test and also this subject, we will be looking into the basic and simple guideline on how to prepare memo. So when it comes to memo, first thing first that we have to know is the margin setting. So when it comes to settings, go to layout. You can go to margin, custom margin, or you can also go to page setup. So at page setup, our margin will be top margin 2-inch top. Left, bottom and right, leave it to 1 inch. Paper, change to A4 size paper and click OK. And after that, the memo will be displayed in single line spacing. So for that, we go to line spacing, go to paragraph, add indent and spacing, go straight to spacing. So add spacing before and after, change to 0 point, and the line spacing change to single line spacing and click OK. And lastly, go to home. You can also right click, go to font. Okay. And at font, at the home, at font style, change to Arial, size 11. Right, so I'm going to put the paragraph marks. The paragraph marks is useful, especially when we want to check the spacing in between lines and also in between words. Alright, so when it comes to memorandum, first we have to look into the items that's supposed to be in a memo. So the memo start with headings. For the headings of memo, this will be the order, the chronological order of headings. Press your caps lock key. In all caps, type 2, followed by colon. After 2, double space 1, 2, and type from, colon. After from, double space again, and type date, colon. And lastly, double space and type subject, double space. Okay, so this is the headings of memo. This will be the order of the headings, starting from to, from, that, and subject. If you notice here, the headings is typed in all caps and followed by colon. Now we're going to display the items in the item in each of the headings. For the items in the heading, starting from to, the format for to, so we tap. We might have to tap once or twice, depending on your device and also referring to the longest headings, which is subject. So for to, the memo can be sent to one individual person or it can be to many person. Example, if the memo is being sent to an individual, so at 2 we will type the name, comma, and the position. Name, nama, Mr. Haikal, Mr. John, Miss Angela, Miss Sarah, Juan Latifa, okay, full name, and followed by comma, and then after that, his or her designation, jawatan dia. No punctuation at the end of each line. No full stop. For from, we will be using the same format. So we tap. So we tap once or twice. The reason we tap once or twice so that the detail in each of the headings are parallel, aligned. So here we also will type the name and also the position of the person sending the memo. Next, the date. The date, again, we tap so that it is in line with the previous particulars, previous detail. And here we will type, normally it will be typed as today's date. So we will use the format of day, month, and year. For example, today is 12th December 2023. So this will be the format. Now, the subject, tab. The subject will be typed in all caps. So press your caps lock key and this one will be typed in all caps. Make sure in each headings, in each of the detail for the headings, no punctuation. So this is how we display the headings. The headings itself, to, from, that, and subject. For the detail, for the particular, for each heading, will be typed in initial caps except for the subject. Then after the subject, double space again, 1, 2. So this is where we start typing the content of our memo. Example. Take an example, this is the first paragraph. So the content of the memo will be typed in block paragraph. Block paragraph meaning it will be typed in at the left margin. Do not indent. This is the first paragraph. When you want to go to the second paragraph, double space, 1, 2, and then we type the second paragraph. If we have another paragraph, then double space again, 1, 2, then type the next paragraph. Normally for memo, we will have a minimum of 2 paragraphs and a maximum of 4 paragraphs. After the paragraph, after the body of the memo, then double space, 1, 2, and this is where we type our initials, XX. The format for initial, we will refer to the format of initial for business letter. For example, my name, NG edit down, so my initial will be AED. Type the initial in lowercase. After your initial, double space, and this is where we type attachment. For certain memo, we don't have attachment. Attachment is not compulsory. The part which will be compulsory, the item which will be compulsory for a memo will be the headings. So this is the headings. The content for sure, which will consist of various profiters mark. Don't forget to correct all the profiters mark. And then lastly will be the initial. So these are the 3 items which will be compulsory in a memo. Attachment, however, will be depending on the question. If the memo has attachment, then we type attachment. If there is no attachment, then we don't have to type attachment. Example, if the memo doesn't consist attachment, so we will stop until initial. If the memo consists attachment, then right after initial, double space, then we type attachment. So that will be how step-by-step guideline on how to prepare memo. So after this, we're going to look into how to display memo by referring to one question. For us to understand better how to display memo, so let us try one question. So this question will be the type of question that will be in the test and also final test. In the instruction, normally the instruction will provide us with all the headings. The content will consist of various profidus mark, which we have to correct them. And then for this memo, the XX is our initial. And for this memo, we don't have attachment. So let us look at the question. Start with emphasizing the parts of memo. So when it comes to memo, first thing first, we will have to make sure that we check the headings. So the headings always start from to, from, that, and subject. Send the following memo to Mr. Lokman bin Ahmad Shah, Human Resource Manager. The memo is from Madam Prima Devi, anak perempuan Raja Nikan, legal officer. And the memo want us to use today's date. And the subject of the memo is changing the terms of contract. So we already have the headings to, from, date, and also subject. Now we look into the content. So this is the first paragraph. If you see an obvious blank like this, it is understood that this one will be the second paragraph. So for this memo, we have only two paragraphs, the first paragraph and also the second paragraph. Therefore, we'll continue after the previous sentence. So we will put this in Microsoft Word. So we try to do this question. In the Microsoft Word, set our margin. So to set our margin, go to layout. You can go to custom margin, or you can also go to the shortcut here, page setup. Top margin, set to 2-inch top, left, bottom and right will be 1 inch. Paper, change to A4 size paper. Then click OK. For the line spacing, we're going to go to paragraph, change the line spacing to single. But before that, change before after 00, line spacing single. Then click OK. And lastly, change our font type to Arial 11. So I'm going to minimize this so that it's easier for us to refer side by side. So at this point, this is where we type the headings to, colon, double space 1, 2, from, colon, double space again, the date, colon, double space, and lastly the subject, colon. So we can type according to the subject first. Right, so for this one, we tap once. So the subject of this memo is changing the terms of contract. The subject will be typed in all caps. Next, the date. So today's date. Today is 20th December. From, this memo is from Madam Prima Devi, AP Rajanikan. So here, tab. So tabbing have to make sure that it is in line, parallel. So we use subject as our marker. Okay, so for subject we tab once. The rest we tap and follow the subject. So from name and the designation. And for this one, the memo is to an individual. So for that, we will type the name of the person receiving the memo and also the designation. As you type, make sure that you always check on your accuracy. So anything in red, then make sure that we double check. If it is according to the draft, then let it be. So this is the headings. Now we go to the content. Double space, 1, 2. So when you double space, 2 paragraph marks. Right here, then we type the new company policy until claim constructive dismissal. Don't forget to correct all the proofreader's mark. So transfer it here. The content of the memo will be typed below. So we type from the left margin, do not tab. So continue typing until the very last sentence in the paragraph. After you're done with the first paragraph, double space 1, 2, then you continue with the second paragraph. So continue typing until you reach to accept changes in the contract. Once you have completed typing, make sure that you always double check your typing and also the draft. So check word by word, line by line. So whatever in red and in blue, so take note and check on the, especially on the accuracy. So once you're done with the memo, double space 1, 2, then this is where we will type our initial. So this is my initial. So for your initial, you only take the first letter of your name, your first name and also your last name. If you have middle name, so your first letter of your name, middle name as well as your last name. Type in lowercase. And when you enter, the letter will immediately change to uppercase. So you change that back to lowercase. If the memo content or has any attachment, so right after the initial, then this is where we type the attachment. If any, if there is none, then we will stop until initial. Referring to the question, there is no attachment. So we no need to put attachment here. So we stop until initial. So this will be the example of memo from 1 to 1, meaning from one person to another one person. There will also be memo for many person. If the memo is for one to many, so this is how you display. For example, this memo is being sent to all marketing department staff, for example. So here in initial caps, then you type all marketing department staff. This is the example of memo from one to many. So you will type to all marketing department staff in initial caps. If the memo is from one to one, so this is how you display the memo. Right, so I hope with this video you will have it is clear on how to display memo. Right, all the best.